If you're a designer in 2025 using Figma, you need to master Autolayout because it is the key to responsive, scalable, and flexible designs. In this video, I'll be breaking down what Autolayout is and why it is important to use in Figma, how to set it up and how to use Autolayout in Figma, and the advanced tricks and tips to be able to create dynamic designs using Autolayout. This sounds like something you want to learn and you want to work smarter and faster using Autolayout in Figma. Then let's dive straight into the video. Okay, so let's get started. So Autolayout is simply a very powerful feature on Figma that literally allows you to create dynamic and flexible designs on Figma. Just like this, it allows you to literally resize. So you're resizing, your design is responsive, and everything literally just works the way it should work when you use Autolayout, right? Like Autolayout is so amazing, I'm not gonna lie to you. And what are the use cases, or what are the benefits of you using Autolayout and why it really matters? Because when you adjust, your content adjusts, your image adjusts also, and depending on maybe mobile or web or tablet size, the design is just going to like fit in whatever you want. So literally Autolayout just makes your design responsive, it makes it easy to update content, and ensure consistency across the design, consistency in spacing actually across your designs. So this is just one of the samples I created for the sake of this video, and just in a moment I'll be going into explaining the basics of Autolayout on Figma basically. So now let me revert this back to the original way it looks. So let's take it back inside and have our design back like this. So Autolayout is so easy, and let me just start with this. So you could use Autolayout for on image, you can use it on your vector icons, you can use it on your text, you can use it on anything literally, images, icon, text, name it, any element on Figma that you can have access to, you can use Autolayout for it, right? So I'll just be trying to explain some of the properties of Autolayout. So I'll be creating this little frame and I'll be bringing in some objects inside of it. So this is my my rectangle. So this is a normal frame without Autolayout. There's nothing inside of this guy, and the only thing I can do is just to move this frame around. There's no constraint, there's no padding, there's no responsiveness. Because if I move this frame right now like this, see, can you see? It's not responsive. It's just my card and my rectangle inside of it is just moving, and it's not responsive, right? But if I add Autolayout to this frame, which is Shift A, or you can come here and go to this Autolayout, this layout section on the right side panel, and click on this use Autolayout icon, just the last one here, and click on it. Automatically it brings this responsive layout into more like a flex box. It gives it the width, the height, the alignment, the padding left and right, top, bottom, gap, and all those things. So Autolayout is so amazing that if you see now, if I try to adjust this guy, can you see what's happening? Unlike when we did without the Autolayout, right? When I added without the Autolayout, when I move this guy, can you see? It's not following what it should follow, right? So when I go back now and do add Autolayout into it, adds all of these things to it. So now let me just explain everything that's inside Autolayout one by one so that we all get the gist, and at the end of the video be able to access and use Autolayout like a professional. So the first item to speak about is the width. So everybody knows that already, that this is the width of the Autolayout card, so 733, and the height. So there are some other very important things that really helps your design to be responsive, like org content and fixed width, which is Autolayout comes with its own. When you add a like Autolayout to a particular frame, and you now move it by yourself, it means that you are giving it a fixed width, right? So it will be checked as fixed width. But if I come here now and do all content, it's already set itself to all content this way. But if I decide to say this one now is still on all content, right? If I now decide to say I don't want to follow the padding that I have, and say let me not follow the padding, let me just draw this guy like this, it will change back to fixed width because I manually did it by myself. So if we check now, you see that it's fixed width, and if you go back to our padding here, you see that the padding is still showing that, oh, this padding is 160 up and down, left and right, one down, 202. But it's a lie, it's not 202 because I've already used my hand to stretch. This flex box or this frame that I have, and right now, if I want to check the size, I think I can do that by using my option key on Mac and over my rectangle inside the box, and you see that 202 here, 160 here, 160 here, then 1062 right on the side. That's why I moved back to what fixed width. But if I come here now and do all content, it's going to go back to the original size, and when I do this, you see that it's what 160 what 160 top and bottom, see 160, 160, 202, 202, right? So the same thing happens on the height side. So all content just allows you to go back to responsiveness, but when you do fixed width, it means that you've manually adjusted it by yourself. That's why it's showing you fixed width. So so the next thing to talk about is we have this directional arrows on the auto layout panel, which is the vertical layout and the horizontal layout. Then we have the wrap. So one thing that happens is, and the use cases are, you can create, let me duplicate this boxes and say I want them to be horizontal. So currently they're all horizontal lined, right? They are all vertically lined, sorry, and they are just going straight down, right? And I can decide to stretch them back to horizontal like this, depending on what I want. If I want my cards to be laid like this, horizontally or vertically, right? Then there's the sweet part, which is for responsiveness. You can decide to wrap your content. When you click on the wrap feature, your content can be wrapped, which is, it can be break down into several cards for responsiveness, right? Depending on how much card you want to have, it breaks, right? It breaks for you to the extent that you want it to break, right? And you can still go back and do your all content and fit back into your other cards. But one thing about wrap is that immediately it's wrapped. If you put it in wrap like this and you manually adjust, it changes to what fixed width. So you have to now switch it back to what all content to get your actual padding that you had before, right? And now, having said that, let me switch back out to so that I can see my frame properly. So the next thing to, let me switch it back to vertical or horizontal. I don't want it to be that much, so that you could get what I'm trying to explain next, the alignment and the like. So now when I do this, let me do 2 more, yeah, then I hug my content back. So all content is just see it as somebody wearing body hug shirt or gym wear with the entire muscle filling up the entire space you get. So now there's no space at all. The whatever space is there is a space that we're already constraining to have. So basically that's what all content is. It's just tightening up everywhere, but your padding is will still be there and everything, but it just closes up unnecessary spaces that you have before on your designs. So now the next thing to look at is the gap between objects inside an auto layout. So now, just like we had already, this is the horizontal, just like we had the vertical, if I over this now and go and see the gap that I have here, it's going to write horizontal gap between objects. So now I can either type inside, or I should expand it manually by myself, or I should do auto, or I should apply variable, or I should just enter my amount inside of this. When I do 30, this expands, right? It gives 30, 30, 30 across, right? If I do this, it keeps expanding, and I can go back and augment content to fit whatever spacing that I have. And I can also like switch down to this and have vertical spacing. So if you see, when I over this, it's going to show me that I have vertical gap between objects, right? So having said that, we move to the next, which is the padding. So we have horizontal padding and we have vertical padding. So horizontal padding is simply this guy, like this guy from here to here. Then we have horizontal padding just at the top, right? Yeah, top and bottom. So vertical padding, top and bottom, horizontal padding, left and right? So when we, just like I showed you the other time, if you do like this, or you come inside your box and you want to know the actual spacing between this, just over on your card or on your box and click on option key if you're using a Mac, and you'll be able to see the spacing, the exact spacing on that particular object. So now you can just come here to either increase it. You can say 300 up and down, left and right. You can say 300, 300, and it's going to adjust, right? And you can also do, you can now do individual. You can say I want 300 up, I want 150 down, depending on your design style, depending on whatever you want to achieve, right? You can manually do that by yourself. So now moving on to one very interesting part, which is the alignment. So I know you'll be waiting for me to explain how the alignment works. So now the alignment is quite easy, which is just you being able to say, I want my object to be top, bottom, right, left, center, here and there. So now I'm manually expanding this box, which is turning to fixed width already. So now I can now explore the alignment, because if the padding is equal, left, right, top, bottom, automatically your card will be in the center, so the alignment will not work. That's why I had to manually adjust it, right? So because if I go back to all content, up and down on the eyes, all content, you see that automatically my object is going to be at the middle, and if I try to do any of this guy, it's not going to work, right? But if I manually adjust my card with my hand like this, now it's staying at the top. Why? Because the alignment is top left, because it's aligned top left. If I move this guy to the middle, it's going to go to the middle. If I choose align top right, it's going to go to top right. If I choose align right, it's going to go to the middle of the right. And if I choose this, it's also going to move around, right? So that's how the alignment works. So if you want to play around with your auto layout alignment, you could literally do this and you will be good. So one other part of auto layouts is you could also have auto layouts inside auto layouts. When you do auto layout, when you add auto layout inside this guy, you can still have another auto layout inside of this auto layout, and you can still have multiple auto layouts inside an auto layout, and you can still have another auto layout inside the auto layout. So you can just play around and see, and you can still give different paddings to different auto layouts at different times. So you could say, I want my padding to be this, and it's going to give it. And you could say, oh, this padding here 190, I want to use the same padding for my down, so 190 also goes there. And you can also increase the padding here, and you can still play around with your alignment, top, side, bottom, left and right. And there's one little thing that I would like to mention, which is when you, let me detach all of the auto layouts right here, remove auto layouts. Now this, my card here this is their own single frame. Let me remove this frame that is here, ungroup the frame, and just keep one of the auto layouts inside of it. Now there's this feature on Autolayout where you can use space between. On Figma they call it space between, but you could literally do how do I call it now? You could fill the container and give it space between. So this is what I'm trying to say. If I reduce this back, it's going to just take its normal space, right? But I don't want to manually adjust like this, right? So I just want it to fill up the space. So I just give it auto space, right? And it's going to switch to auto. I just double tap that, or you could just come here. If instead of saying, let's say 300, you just come here and give it auto, and it spaces it to fit whatever you want, right? And that's just that. And there's this other part here that they're like a lot more stuff you could play with around here, which is you could play around your, let's say you have, let me turn this to around the corners. So let me say 185 and 185 so that it's a full rounded corner. So move this and I give it, make it a perfect circle. So come here now, I just duplicate and have more guys around here. Then the feature for the canvas lane at the top and first, top bottom, and you can also move it into, you could also move it into negative. When I mean negative, let's say negative 20. So you can move it into negative. But to see this, you have to add like a stroke to it to see, because of the colors that I was using. So you could do this just like all those avatars that you see on those big on those let me use a plugin here. Just like all those avatars that you see on designs, you could just play around with some of those images. I'm trying to use a plugin now to pull up some images that we could use to achieve that right now. Don't know how fast that's going to come up, or if it doesn't come up. So we have the avatars like this. So let me search for images and just put that up. So I'm just going to use any random image right here and I'm going to apply all to it. Let's see how fast it's coming. So all of the images will just come like this. Can you see that? So I know you're familiar with something like this. So this is how they create it on Figma. So you just do, you increase the 50 depending on how much you want it to look like. And depending on the color background and stuff, you could still change your color by stroke. So if you don't still know how to play around stroke, you go watch my video on Figma for beginners. I kind of explain how the stroke works properly on that video. So having said that, I'd like to move to today's example on Figma. I'd like to explain this other part, the stroke excluded and the base alignment. They're quite easy though. It's not like something really deep. It's minimal. You probably not even notice it in your design. So so now let's recreate something like this from scratch. This is this. Let's recreate this from scratch so that you see how I can showcase Autolayout to you, and how you could also recreate something like this and how it can be used in real use case, right? So I'm going to take out this image because I'll be using it for a sample, right? I'm going to take out the image. So first of all, I have this image and this is what the image looks like, and it has like corner radius of 8. So what I'll do is let me reduce the height a little bit, and I'll just do Shift A or come here to add auto layout to it. I'll just say auto layout. So automatically it has the padding and everything, left, right padding, horizontal, vertical padding. Then I can fill it. So it gives it like a background inside the frame. Then the next thing to do is when you look up to the design that we have on top, I think the next thing we have is the UI design and product tags. So what I'm going to do next is I'll just come here and type, and say UI design. I'll say UI design. UI design and product. Right, so let me check the font sizes and the type scale. So the font size 16, DMS sans. So DMS sans and medium and 16. So all you just need to do now is, now you could use Autolayout to create anything literally. So another use case is using Autolayout to create a button. So this is a text. All I just need to do is to add Autolayout. So I just create add Autolayout. Automatically gives me the Autolayout setup, and I already have my paddings. So all I just need to do is to fill it and add corner radius to it. So I'll add 30 corner radius, right? And I'll just add my color. Let me sample the color from what we already have, so it doesn't look different. So I'll come here, I'll just pick up my color and dip it inside of it. So that's my color, and I think it was supposed to use a blue text for this. So let's expand a little bit and use a blue text. So creating your buttons, just normal rules that we have. The top is always X and the side is always 2X. So this is 10 on top, so we're using 20 for the sides, for the side padding. So we just come here to our auto layout panel and increase the side panel to, you just do ×2. You can just do ×2 like this. It changes to 20, right? Or you can just type 20 by yourself. I'm just trying to play around using syntaxes to get those things done. So I did asterisk ×2. So just 10 asterisk 2 is going to multiply it and do it for you. So the same thing comes here. You can just do add auto layout or shift A, come here and add your padding asterisk 2, right? You just do that, then you fill it. So then you give your corner radius, let's say 30, and you come here and select your color from the former one that we had. I think it was green. So we give the color green, and we come here and select all the things that we need. So just come, let me pick a deeper green that's going to show. So right now we've created two components. So all we just need to do is to put them together and reduce the spacing to like 12, right? Then we put it inside the auto layout. Don't do anything yet, just leave it inside the auto layout like this, right? So what's the next thing to create is the text. So let me just copy the text. I don't need too much. I don't need to retype it. So let me just copy the text and I'll just paste it down here. So what to do with the text is, you don't need to put inside any container again, because text is text and text is mostly responsive by themselves. So all you just need to do is dump it inside this frame, right? So that's one. That's second thing. Then you come inside here again and copy your little Ipson text. And there's something amazing that I'll be teaching in this auto layout class, which is even just a little bit different. So one thing I did here was, you can see that there's still some text inside of this guy, but I added like some extra, I added something that made it to truncate the text. So I'll be explaining that right now. So just come here and remove the truncation on the text. So if you have like a old text, like you have a old text and you don't want it to be long and show all the long text and everything, you could just come here and do this, and you could come here like this and just select your text filter here and come to truncation, right? And when it truncates it, you just make sure that you get to the level that you don't want to see anymore, and you just adjust it like that, and that will be how you solve the problem of truncation, right? Then after doing that, just make sure you drop it inside this frame. So that's the third thing, and the last one is the read more button. So I don't need to type this anymore or do anything. So I'll just come here and pick the two elements, right, and drop it outside here. So all we need just to do is to add our own new auto layout. So this is the icon and this is the text. This is the text. There's nothing inside of it, it's just a text. So I come here and add them together. I just select them together like this, or pick them one by one like this and add auto layout state. When I add auto layout state, the spacing is 6, so I drop it inside of here. So one thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my padding is right. So let me see the padding that we used here. The padding is, I think 24 horizontal and vertical. So I just come here and select and update it to 24, top and bottom, left and right, 24. Right? Can you see the difference? But something is looking funny already, right? It's because we've not done all of the alignments properly. So now the other thing you should do, remember when I said we needed to add like fill and up content. So in this perspective, I'm going to fill the container. So when you fill the container, it means that all of your text, when it gets to the end of the padding, is going to fill and it's going to truncate itself or break itself. You get something fills the house. The entire body takes the structure of the house. Do you understand? So now the same thing happens when you do your normal body text. You just come here and fill the container. Right? When it fills the container, it will just stop wherever the padding stops, right? Then also this, I wanted to do this so that I fill the container and I'm going to add wrap to it. The reason why I'm adding wrap to it is that when it gets to the smallest scale of itself, these guys can stack on each other. Instead of just being 2, they can stack on each other, right? So this is what I mean by stacking on each other. If I do this now, if I adjust this guy, you can see that when it gets to some extent, this guy stacked on each other is because it's wrapped. If it wasn't wrapped, it's not going to stack on each other. It's just going to stand as 2, right? So that's that. So moving on, I come here, I do this, and I come here, I check this, and I also come here to do the same thing for my read more button. Just fill the container and everything is good. So now I come to check my image, then I give this guy a corner radius of I think 8 or 16 rather, sorry, because our image is 16. So now you come here now, let's test what we've done and see if it works. Can you see? Can you see what we just did? Auto layout is as easy as this. There's nothing really hard about auto layout. And what do you need to do to your image? Just fill the container. But you see that when I try to see now, I'm just trying to do my adjustment. But there's something that I want to do, which I didn't do, which is we need to now group this guy in case when we want to like do horizontal style. You know, the card is see what it looks like when we don't do what I'm about to do. So what we're supposed to do is to group all of these guys as one div. So you just come here and give it another auto layout. Remember I said that auto layouts can be inside auto layout. You can have multiple auto layouts inside one auto layout. So that's what's simply happening. So now the spacing in between these guys will just be, let's say, a 20 or even more than that, maybe like 24. Say 24 or 240. Say 24. If it's maybe more than, if you want to make it more than that, you can make it more than that depending on what suits you. So we come here and we now try the padding, the direction for the horizontal layout. Can you see now that my layout now switches? It puts this on one side and puts this on one side because of that layout that we did, right? Because of that layout that we did. So there's one thing that is kind of like not looking good here, which is the alignment. Remember I mentioned I explained what alignment should be on inside an auto layout. So this is supposed to be like in the center so that this guy comes to the center. So when I go down like this, or when I go down like this, see the padding on top, when it goes to the center, it's perfect, right? When I switch it back to the horizontal view, it becomes like this. Then no matter how much I wrap it, it wraps itself to fit into the auto layout. So that's simply how auto layout is easy to use. If you have any question, please drop in the comment section and I'll be here to answer your questions. And that is a wrap. That is how it is easy to use auto layout in Figma like a professional in 2025. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Share to your friends and let me know in the comment section what your biggest struggle is using Autolayout, and I'll be there to answer your questions. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye for now.